We've got an amazing dog behaviourist and trainer on Creature Corner today, guys. And he's got some interesting tips for us as well as the pet of the week. Let's go meet them. So lucky to have the very talented Christian chatting to us with the gorgeous Tiny. Welcome, boys.
G'day, how's it going?
Okay, good. Now, you're a dog trainer behaviourist.
That's right, yep.
Okay, what is the difference?
Well, there's two things you're dealing with when you're dealing with a dog. So there's actual, obedience training as such. So that's, sit, drop, stay, that kind of thing. Then you've got the behaviour, so pulling on the leash, behaviour type issues.
How did you learn your craft? Through
other trainers, books and videos and things like that. Last year I went down and spent a few weeks down in Melbourne with a group, the Alpha Canine group. They specialise in the harder to address behaviour issues. The last few years I'd also been doing training. The more time you spend around dogs, the more you learn.
Because every dog is different, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right, yeah, exactly.
And you run your own sort of training and walking, I see, Affinity Dog.
That's training and walking, and obviously only behaviour issues and so forth. So
yeah. We need more of that, don't we?
That's right, yeah.
Now, this beautiful doggy is Tiny, and he's our pet of the week. How old is he?
10 years or so. He's a stray, so again, you don't always get a lot of information. As dogs get older, of course, they don't usually need as much exercise, and they're usually a bit happier just to hang around. Usually another plus with the older dog.
We can find him on Rescue Hub.
That's right, yep, absolutely.
If you wanted to meet Tiny, check out Rescue Hub, viewers. He's beautiful. Wants a good retirement, he really does. Poor doggy. Yep. And is he dog friendly?
From what we've seen so far, yes, yep. So
how do you determine that?
It's observing what the dogs are like, walking them past another dog and seeing how they react. But also it's changing the environment. Usually it's best to try them in a couple of different environments with a couple of different dogs. Sometimes a dog reactive, which doesn't necessarily mean they're aggressive. It just means that they get a bit excited around other dogs. The other big point that I always make is that they're usually very heavily intertwined. That a dog that will sit and hold a sit and that will drop and hold a drop. Then you can ask the dog to do other things, so behavioural things like don't jump up on people and things like that. Similar with a human, if you've got a very well behaved child or adult, it's very unusual they're going to go out and do something bad. So teaching them basic obedience behaviour, then that feeds into also moulding the good behaviour. Once you've got all that happening, then you can show people, let them know that this is a good dog, it's already trained, and it makes the dog a lot more attractive to someone that's maybe thinking about either adopting or even just fostering.
That's what the work you do at Hawkesbury. You train the dogs that come in.
That's right, yes. So I've been working with Rescue Hub and Best Friends Forever, working with these dogs. So yeah, going out there, doing an assessment with the dogs, and then working out kind of what needs to happen. And
the common perception is that rescue dogs are aggressive and badly behaved. Is that something you've come across?
Definitely not always true. And again, once you've done a bit of training and a bit of behaviour modification with them, they're fantastic dogs.
Yeah, aren't they? And I think when they come in, they're very sort of agitated because it's a terrifying thing to happen, isn't it? To suddenly be in this huge, massive place with lots of kennels and barking and everything.
Well, absolutely, and that's one of the things that the kind of people underestimate with dogs is that the change of environment can have a big change on their behaviour. So going from an environment where everything's nice and happy and they've got their own nice little backyard and things like that, and then if you say being brought into this situation of maybe barking dogs, the smaller kennels, and it takes a huge mental shift for the dog to have to deal with, and that's why I do see a little bit more excitability and that kind of thing.
What's the first sort of step you take when you get an agitated dog?
Just letting the dog kind of realise that there's an alternative to overexcitable, and again, dogs very much work off the energy or the body language of the person that's handling them. So teach them kind of a sit or a drop or something like that. Again, give them something to do. The dog, if they're down in a drop or they're down in a sit, it's very difficult for them to keep that high energy up. Just keeping quiet and keeping calm. So yeah, I prefer not to use treats in the training process. A lot of people say that, what happens when I run out of treats? What happens if I don't have a treat on me? What happens if the dog learns to train the human around how to use treats? So kind of take that out of the process. There's a whole lot of issues you don't have to deal with further down the track. Use the same word and just go up and down with your voice tone. And from that, the dog will pick up, what you want it to do. If the dog's doing the right thing, giving those lower tones, good boy, build from that.
And to house train a dog, what are the points you can give us? Because that is something that is a common problem.
Yeah. A lot of it does come down to management, early puppy stages. Making sure the puppy has access to outdoors and that it knows that it can go outside at any time. When they actually do go outside, do make a big happy deal out of it, and have a word for it. So it might be go potty, go bathroom. It's best to kind of find them actually in the act. And so if you can find them in the act and quickly pick them up and take them outside, good boy, good dog.
Don't rub their nose in it.
Don't rub their nose in it.
You can do the same with mature dogs.
Yeah, same principle, but always making sure they do have access to outside. Don't set a dog up to fail.
And now when a dog's pulling on the lead, how would one stop that?
Some dogs respond fairly easily, some dogs it takes a little bit more work. But essentially it's all about how, like letting the dog know that you're the one that's in charge on this walk. Not letting the actual dog kind of move off or move forward. So stopping or even taking a step back when the dog's pulling on that lead, and so it realises that okay, every time I pull, we either stop or we take a step back. That's one way. As I said, the other way is using those voice tones. Once you get the sit and the drop happening, you can ask the dog to do other things like don't pull on the lead. These things really do come together and interlace. And just letting the dog know that you're not going to go any further until the leader or the person in charge is ready to move forward. So yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Now you offer training for the dogs that are adopted from the shelter as well.
That's right. Yep. So I've been working with Elaine and Best Friends Forever.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us. And viewers, remember, check out Rescue Hub on Facebook and you can meet gorgeous Tiny, and Christian will be here to help you as well. Thanks again.
Thank you very much. Cheers.